Imagine a goal so vast, so consuming, that it swallows every other ambition, every human connection, every instinct for survival. What happens when the relentless pursuit of one single objective becomes the very definition of your existence? Today, we embark on a voyage that explores the intoxicating power of obsession and the ultimate cost of a dream unbridled. The relentless pursuit of the white whale. My name is not important. Let us just say I was a man seeking refuge from the land's suffocating embrace, drawn to the boundless, untamed majesty of the sea. I signed aboard the Pequod, a Nantucket whaling ship, anticipating adventure and the brutal, honest work of the deep. The ship itself felt ancient, carved from the very bones of the leviathans it sought, and its crew a motley collection of souls from every corner of the globe. Men driven by the primal urge for fortune, escape, or simply the call of the horizon. There was a raw camaraderie forged in the shared hardship of the sea, a sense of unity that promised a great voyage. The Pequod was not merely a vessel, it was a microcosm of humanity, each man with his own silent hopes and desperate fears, all bound by the creaking timbers beneath their feet and the vast, indifferent ocean around them. But the true nature of our voyage, its terrifying singularity, was not revealed until Captain Ahab emerged from his cabin. He was a figure of granite and raw will, his face etched with ancient scars, his missing leg replaced by a stark ivory peg made from a whale's jawbone. The air thickened with a strange, almost magnetic intensity when he was present. He paced the deck, his ivory legs striking the planks with a rhythmic, unsettling thud that echoed the relentless pounding of his own heart. On the quarterdeck, under the indifferent gaze of the stars, he nailed a gold doubloon to the mast, offering it to the first man who sighted Moby Dick, the legendary white whale. This was no ordinary whaling voyage. It was a crusade, a monomaniacal hunt for the creature that had taken his leg and, he believed, stolen his very soul. The crew, initially bewildered, then electrified by the sheer force of his will, eventually roared their assent. There was something undeniably powerful, even inspiring, in such singular, unyielding determination, a burning focus that promised a goal beyond mere profit. And so began our odyssey, a relentless, unswerving chase across the vast, indifferent expanse of the world's oceans. Days bled into weeks, weeks into months, and the seasons turned, but Ahab's fixation never wavered. We sailed through storms that threatened to tear the Pequod apart, through becalmed seas where the sun beat down with merciless intensity, through the icy chill of the Pacific and the humid breath of the tropics. Every ripple on the water, every distant spout, every ship we hailed, all were scrutinized for a sign, a whisper of the white whale. The crew, at first captivated, then weary, found their spirits tested to their very limits. There were moments of fleeting joy, a successful harpooning of a regular whale, the camaraderie of shared meals, but these were brief respites from the pervasive tension that emanated from Ahab. He drove us mercilessly, pushing the ship and its men beyond the reasonable limits of endurance. Even when we encountered other ships laden with rich whale oil, Ahab often refused to stop, his eyes fixed on the distant, elusive phantom of Moby Dick. Profits, safety, even the lives of his crew became secondary to this singular, destructive obsession. Ahab's pursuit became a thing of terrible beauty, a force of nature in itself. He spoke to the winds, cursed the heavens, and dared the ocean to defy him. He was a man consumed, his humanity slowly eroding under the weight of his singular purpose. He distanced himself from the crew, his only companions the tattered charts, the silent stars, and the phantom image of his adversary. The whiteness of Moby Dick began to symbolize not just an animal, but an entire universe of indifference, a force of nature that cared nothing for human vengeance or suffering. The more Ahab pursued the whale, the more isolated he became, and the more the crew, including myself, began to feel like unwitting participants in a cosmic tragedy. We were no longer simply whalers, we were extensions of Ahab's will, dragged deeper and deeper into his personal vendetta. There were moments when sanity seemed to slip, when the sheer magnitude of the quest threatened to overwhelm us all. Starbuck, the pragmatic first mate, repeatedly urged caution, reminding Ahab of the ship's purpose and the dangers of such an unholy pursuit. But his pleas fell on deaf ears. Ahab's will was a concrete wall, impenetrable to reason or mercy. Then, after months of relentless pursuit, the omens grew stronger. The sea itself seemed to whisper of the Leviathan. And finally, on a calm, sun-drenched morning, there she was, Moby Dick. She was immense, majestic, a living force of nature, her skin scarred with the marks of countless battles, her eye holding an ancient, unfathomable wisdom. Ahab's eyes blazed with a terrifying mixture of triumph and madness. 3 days we pursued her, 3 days of unparalleled fury, a dance of death between man and beast. Lines snapped, boats were splintered, and men were lost to the churning, blood-streaked waters. Ahab, with a harpoon clutched in his hand, seemed to merge with the very essence of his obsession. His peg leg splintering, his body racked with pain, yet his spirit unyielding. In the final climactic confrontation, as he delivered his last desperate strike, Moby Dick turned on the Pequod. The ship, our home, and our prison was crushed and dragged into the depths, taking with it Ahab, still tethered to the whale, and almost every soul aboard. I, by some twist of fate, was tossed clear, clinging to a stray coffin, the sole survivor, left adrift in the vast emptiness. The ocean, which had been our hunting ground, became our grave. I was spared to tell the tale, a living testament to the destructive power of a goal that becomes an all-consuming obsession, blinding one to life itself. The pursuit of greatness, I learned, must always be tempered by humanity, wisdom, and an understanding of when to let go, lest the very thing you chase